This is episode 79 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
And I'm Sam Cooper, and the lesson today is, when you've got a good list, don't fiddle with it just to fit in your favourite pilot.
It took me a moment to realise what you're talking about, but okay, that's fair, So, for this week, I'm not going to say stop practicing for the upcoming Hexard event, but it's about to start. So I will get the practice in playing the list. I am looking slightly further afield, but not that far anymore, towards the Sith Takers Open in February.
That's reasonable.
Which should be fun. And to be fair, I'm playing a list, or the faction that I would have played in the Kyber team event, apart from the fact that the rules limit the eras and you nicked prequels.
I mean, it's like the only faction I play, and you play like 5.
I play all 7.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see, you're validating my point even further.
And I said you could borrow any of them. You should branch out once in a while, Sam.
Yeah, it's the Kyber Cup. Right. I only play one faction, and we want to win, right? We're playing to win. We're coming with the A team and the A grade.
I mean, yeah,
hyper competitive lists, which is why my list is entirely Siege of Coruscant.
But on that note, we have got some Republic versus Separatists today.
I mean, it's our classic, isn't it? At this point,
it's how we started,
and it's how we'll end.
I have taken some Siege of Coruscant because there's some very good ships in that box, and there's a couple of lists built around different ships that come in that I'm practicing, and I've yet to decide which one I prefer. But to that extent, I have got... Can you count 5 ships as a mini swarm?
Yeah, it's a mini swarm. I mean, isn't this literally Ace and mini swarm? You've got Anakin Skywalker and 4 other ships.
Well, I was going to say it's a high initiative mini swarm. So I have got Siege of Coruscant Obi-Wan Kenobi in the ETA 2. So it's standard ETA 2. His ability when he gets into when he fully executes a maneuver, if there are more enemy ships at range 0 to 1 than other friendly ships, also works on Anakin as well. He can spend a force to do a boost. It's slightly worse than standard Obi because you have to fully execute it and it's a boost, not a focus. But he's 4 points, so he's got ancillary ion weapons, which, I mean, we all know is on there for the scenario that they come with. Maybe you use it, but who knows. Patience and R4P17. However, this R4P17 is not normal R4P17, which we'll get to in a minute. This R4P17 reads, if you were to take a damage while not defending, you may spend 1 charge. I think he's got 2. Spend 1 charge and gain 1 strain token. Discard that damage. So, go over a rock. Now here's a question: if you go over the rock, you take a damage, right? Then you roll, and if you hit, that's 2 separate instances of taking damage, right?
I'd assume so.
So you could, in theory, burn both charges if you got a bad rock. But he's an I5, 3 force. If you line up the bullseye, he's got 3 red dice. It's 4 points. It's worth a shot. I've brought Siege of Coruscant Contra, who has the Born for This ability, ship ability, which basically, when a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 defends, they may spend your evade or focus tokens as their own if you take a strain. It's a better version of Dedicated, basically.
It's what Dedicated should have been.
Yeah, it's like you're taking the punishment of the strain, but you're removing the I've re-rolled the blank into a blank. Feels bad. It's you're getting punished, but you're getting a definite upside as well. So it's the trade-off you have to decide you want to make.
In fact, I have a feeling the only reason they didn't do it is because they'd already given the Separatist network calculations and didn't want the factions to feel kind of samey, because token sharing would be like...
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, the droids share tokens and the clones share tokens. We want something different. We'll have the clones re-roll.
Yeah. He comes with Ion Limiter Override, which basically allows him to do a barrel roll after performing a red maneuver, and then he rolls a dice, and I think on a hit takes an Ion. Precise Astromech. After you perform an action, you may spend 1 charge to perform a red target lock action. He's got 2 charges. Ion Bombs and Besh, which is pseudo optics. Spend the lock, change the result to a hit. Kickback in the Torrent, who gets a hull upgrade, so 6 hull. I5, got the Born for this ability, and Diamond Boring Missiles and Munitions Failsafe. Knack in the Clone Z95, who's also I5. His pilot ability is I'm I5. He has got Magpulse warheads, fire control system, and synced console. And then Anakin Skywalker in the Delta B with Crackshot, R4P17, and Shield Upgrade. And that R4P17 is after you fully execute a red maneuver, you may spend 1 charge to perform an action, even while stressed.
Can you take both R4P17s?
Oh no, that's a good question. Actually, is it limited?
Like, I was just thinking because I'm not sure you can, right? Because it's still limited on.
Yeah, maybe I'm flying an illegal list. That's a very good point. Do you know,
because the droid is still limited on the standardized cards, right?
I have no idea. I didn't look, to be honest. I didn't even clock that because it's a different ability. I didn't even look at like the name of the droid, if that makes sense. It's only because we're running through the lists. Ha! Illegal list. Double R4s, R4Ps.
Like I don't know. Like I'd have to.
Oh yeah, no. It quite probably is, and that's something I'll have to bear in mind. A lot, actually, because the reason it works so well on Anakin is if you perform a red maneuver, get someone range 1 in your front arc or in the bullseye, you can use Anakin's ability to spend a force to ditch the stress. You can still trigger R4P17 because you've executed, do an action, you can fine-tune if you need to, and then do your normal action. So in theory, you can get 3 actions stress-free for 1 force, 1 charge.
Yeah, that is pretty legit. Yeah, I've just looked it up now. There is a pip in front of R4P17.
Oh, yeah, alright, so I can't even remember how this one goes, but I lose because I'm flying an illegal list.
Yeah, blah, 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 whatever, like that's meaningless. Although, if you've uploaded your list to Kyber, maybe quickly check.
Oh, I'm not flying this at Kyber.
Oh, of course you're not flying Republic for Kyber.
No, I'm flying Scum at Kyber.
Right, we just had that whole discussion, didn't we?
Yes, we did. But no, that's...
I remember things that happened in the recent past.
That's something, actually, to keep an eye out for, and I certainly will. But, yeah, they've changed... Because what I think they've done is they've done it... Because R4P17 is Obi's droid. Yeah. So they want it to be thematic and the right names. Well, I mean, that kind of half makes it easier on which Anakin do I bring, that one or outmaneuver.
I mean, I think it's also more because the squad builders don't take it into account.
Oh, properly. Yeah, of course, because Launch Bay normally says only one of these allowed in each list.
Yeah, I think the squad builders don't take the standardized into account just yet.
Interesting. Well, I shall keep an eye out for that, and in a minute I shall go and run through the rest of my list and Launch Bay next. Cracking back on Anakin with the illegal droid, Crackshot, and a shield upgrade, so he's almost a defender.
And over to my list. So I'm experimenting with a contingency protocol list, and you may be wondering, what on earth is that? So that is the droids thing from Siege of Coruscant.
Not if you listen to this podcast, because you've flown it for like
not if you listen to this podcast, because I've flown it for the last 2 times or last 1 time. I can't remember.
But anyway,
I think. Well, I've had ships with contingency protocol. This is the second time I've flown a full Siege of Coruscant list.
Fair.
So all of my ships, except for the Tri-Fighter that's coming, have contingency protocol and strut-lock override, and so I'll explain them now. Contingency protocol reads: when you die, another ship with contingency protocol within range 0 to 3 can perform an action even while stressed. And boy, is that useful every time.
Your Tri-Fighter's got it as well.
It has contingency protocol, but not strut-lock override.
Oh, I see. Sorry, yeah.
And strut-lock override is before you activate, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, you ignore obstacles whilst moving this round. So basically, it's a little bit like grappling struts, but I think a little bit more versatile. Okay, yes, you can't do the shenanigans of sitting on the rocks, but like when your opponent is like, that rock is in the way because you can't be there, and you just land on it and barrel roll because you can't barrel roll off them anymore with grappling struts.
Yeah.
Like, you can do some cool stuff twice per game, but realistically, do you need to do it more than twice per game?
It's effective.
I'd argue no.
It's effectively collision detector, isn't it?
Yes, it's literally collision detector.
And how much is collision
And it's
detector
super
these
nice.
days? Like 10
Like
points?
9 points.
Yeah, it's stupid expensive because it's stupid
Yeah.
good.
But so let's just get that out of the way. Everyone has contingency protocol, and everyone but the Tri-Fighter has strut lock override. I'm running DBS 32C, who has plasma torpedoes, and then contingency and strut lock. And he has the new ability. He's not the good old coordinating person. When he calculates, he can spend a charge, and he has 2. After you do a calculate action, you may spend a charge to do a jam action, and that is really nice. You also still have the red jam, which is pretty useful.
It's a white
but
jam,
you're just getting
so
extra actions. It's a white jam as well,
Yeah.
and it has plasma torpedoes. Then we have DBS 404 with advanced proton torpedoes and contingency protocol and strut lock override. He's the exact same as he was. He's just a point cheaper. And then anyone who listened to last week will think, okay, and here come the 2 flags. No. I have gone for a Bactoid prototype with homing missiles, contingency protocol, and strut lock override. And their ability is, when you would do a special weapon attack, if an allied ship with network calculations has a target lock on them, you can ignore the target lock or focus or calculate requirement. So I can fire that homing missile without a target lock as long as someone else has one. And the reason I've downgraded a flak to that guy is so I can upgrade the other flak to DIS T81, the I4 Tri-Fighter with outmaneuver, afterburners, and contingency protocol. And his ability is, while you attack or defend, you may re-roll as many dice as you like, and then afterwards, for as many dice as you re-rolled, gain a strain or deplete, depending on whether you're attacking. Strain if you were defending, deplete if you were attacking. So he's really, usually pretty damn hard to kill and very reliable on offense, because you'd never really need to target lock.
Yeah.
And as long as you're flanking, you're doing the god's work. And rounding out the list, I have 3 vultures. I've got 2 Howard Child prototypes, and they've got iron missiles, contingency protocol, and strut lock override. And their ability is, when an enemy in their bullseye performs an attack and the Howard Child is not the target, you may perform a calculate action or a target lock action, and that's quite cool. Only up to range 2, but still pretty nice. And DFS 081 has Discord missiles, contingency protocol, and strut lock override. And his ability is, he has 2 charges. He can spend a charge whilst he defends. He may spend a charge and a calculate to cancel a crit, and that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So we are playing Salvage Mission. And we roll off, and I'm first player for turn 0. We don't overlap on initiative at all. So
it's all me than all you.
It very much is just the turn 0 setup. And we basically end up with almost the standard across the middle, slightly on the opponent's side, as best you can. I place the one on my side right in the middle, as close to my board edge as possible. And you place yours on your side, up in your
as close to up in my top right corner, basically.
Yeah, it's slightly further away from your board edge than is possible. I think it's about range 2. Looking at that, yeah. Oh, sorry, the far edge of range 2, I should say. Almost range 3, because your ship's at range 1. It's almost the same again. Out, but it's nicely in front of where you want to set up. So.
Yeah, and then we set up rocks. And so this is interesting. Where normally I dot rocks next to objectives, but with this list, I don't actually want that. Because yes, the strut lock override is good, but I'm quite happy if rocks aren't around in this game. And so I'm pretty sure I just scatter. You start putting rocks along your board edge, so you can zoom past them, and I just start putting rocks in the corners.
Yeah.
And so we end up with like an L.
Yeah, basically.
Almost. Yeah, we like almost an L going down the left hand side of the board and along the front of Sean's, and then there's just one random rock at my edge in the middle. And I know exactly where I'm deploying. I deploy on in my left, Sean's right, corner in a solid block, ready to go forward, grab some objectives, and turn into the open middle is the plan.
Yeah.
The only real difference I have is that I put my tri-fighter facing 90 degrees away, and so basically along my board edge, so I just have some options of where to go, depending on how you deploy.
Yeah.
So, the plan.
I kind of figured you'd deploy over there, and I kind of figured the rough game plan is going to be come down there, turn into the middle.
Yeah.
And so to that...
It's simple, but
it's effective, yeah. Like... I can't joust you. I have to find a way around that. But I can't just go for the straight flank down the right because you just don't turn in. So to that extent, I set up Contrail to the left of the objective that's in the centre near my board edge, because just above that is the middle rock on my side. The V-Wings are quite fast, and what I was hoping was if I do a quite fast, or not too fast, but if I could basically end up as far to the left as I can while staying range 1 of the centre objective and not hitting that debris that's near it, I might be able to just nab that before you can get in 2 good turns. Because the likelihood is you come straight. Like, maybe I take a range 3 shot. But if I can grab that, and then I can outrun, maybe not the vultures, because they can 5 straight as well, but I can outrun the bombers. And you'd have to turn after me, which would slow down. I could just do a 5 straight the next turn, then turn. I thought that might be a sneaky way of getting an extra 1. And if I can, even if it's only for a couple of turns, if I can outscore you 3-2, that's a massive help, because the droids play the objective game very well. And obviously killing them nets me much less return than other ships. Although, admittedly, most of yours are actually 3 points in this.
2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and 5. Then a 5.
But that's the plan. But it also, because of where the rocks are, if turn 1, like, you just banked in for some reason, I can hard turn left out and get out of dodge. Kickback is basically to the right of the centre objective, as close to my board edge as possible. I wasn't 100% sure what manoeuvre I was going to dial in, but basically at the end of turn 2, I wanted him range 1 of that bottom one, so I can just nab that. Knack goes just basically below the objective on the left-hand side, because he's just going to gun up, grab that, and then turn in through the rocks and see what's what. Try and get a diamond boron off, and not a diamond boron, sorry, a mag pulse, jam you, deal a crit, deplete. Obi goes opposite your droid swarm, like pretty much as far into the corner as you can get him. Basic plan there is 1 hard, see if I can bait you. It's unlikely. But then I make the judgment call of, if I don't think you're going to take the bait, I can 1 hard in behind. If you think I'm going to do that, then, double bluff, and one of us will get it right, one of us will get it wrong. But it's that, making your opponent make those decisions. And Anakin is set up as far left as you can get. Basically, I'm going to need him to flank, but I'm not sure how... I don't want to rush into this engagement. I want to take my time and get the people into place. So he's going to go fast turn 1, and then if needs be, I can go right up the board edge, right round the top objectives and come in. Because with the double reposition and the delta dial, they can get places pretty fast. So yeah, that's game plan. So let's get to it.
Yes.
So we won't bother calling out the the road rolls each round because it literally makes no difference.
Yeah.
So
I have no system phase, and you have a bomb, so
and a
that's
reposition.
And a reposition. But like, I have no way to interact with that, so priority literally doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right. So away we go.
Away we go indeed. And basically, my block of 6 does a 4 straight and calculates, and the Tri-Fighter does a 5k. Because I was thinking of going around on the flank. He had that maneuver, but like you've spread along all of that side. So I was like, we just 5k, turn around and just try and loop in behind me. With the idea being that when you engage the swarm, the Tri-Fighter should be able to find a chance to shoot someone in the back, essentially, or just shoot someone at an odd angle.
So I do a 3 straight with Contrail. Because I can do a 2 straight the next turn, it leaves me just, exactly what I wanted, just up past range 1, and gives me a nice out round the top of the debris field to join up with Knack and Annie. What do I end up doing with the Torrent? I do a 2 hard and take an evade. I didn't do... I went slightly slower with Knack. I'm trying to work out why, and I'm not sure why. I should have gone faster to get up there. Oh, no, I know why. Because I didn't want to jump... It's basically, I had 2 moves. Because I didn't want to get too far up so I could miss the turn in past the light asteroid. So, by going slightly slower here, if for whatever reason, Contrail does get into trouble and is going to get pounced on turn 2, I can turn in and basically ignore the objective and turn in if I need to. Obi does his 1 hard, takes an evade, and Annie does a 5 straight and boosts forwards. So, happy days.
Yeah, making me glad I turned my Tri-Fighter around. So I was like vaguely toying with the idea of flanking, but like your entire list is on that side. At that point, my block is flanking.
So, are we ready for mistake number 1?
Yes, let's go. Because in a couple of turns, I make a huge mistake, which costs... I'm going to argue in about 2 turns, I make a mistake that probably costs me the game.
So, we'll get to the mistake in a minute, but bear in mind where your Tri-Fighter is now.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Tri-Fighter started, should we say, 3 ship lengths to the left of where Obi is now?
Yes.
Vertically. And did a 5k and is where he is now, right?
Yeah.
So, system phase. Obi does a boost, which effectively puts him 1... He would basically be touching the back of the Tri-Fighter, give or take.
Yeah.
And I can see your Tri-Fighter up there. I know your Tri-Fighter did a 5k. But here come your moves.
Yeah. So I do a series of I do a 5 straight with one of the droids, pick up the middle objective, 4 straight with the back to the prototype, and DBS 32, and the other Howard Charles, and they just calculate in the middle. DBS 32C does a 3 straight and picks up the objective. The DFS 081 does a 5 straight behind the Howard Charles and calculates, and 404 does a 4 straight. So I've got a bit of a slightly staggered swarm with the idea is I can do some different types of turn in depending on what happens. But I'm all in network calculation range, and I've picked up 2 objectives.
Yeah.
And then the Tri-Fighter does a 3 hard to clear the stress, and then barrel rolls towards the right-hand edge of the board, ready to just see what's going on next turn, because I can either keep going or I can turn in with like most of my swarm, depending on what your ships do.
So Contrail does a 2 straight and picks up the center. I do another straight with Knack, and he picks up the left. And I do another 2 hard and pick up the bottom one with kickback. So effectively, I've achieved what I want. At least for this turn, I'm outscoring you 3-2, and as many turns as I can. If I can get 3 turns of that, I'd be happy.
I mean that wins you the game realistically with your damage output.
But here's the mistake: I 4K Obi because I'm thinking. My thoughts there were Well, I've still got choices of where I can go. I can go left if I need to. I can go straight back into the corner if I need to, depending on where you're going. But I thought I'd go further along the board edge. I misjudged how long a 4 straight is. But effectively, all I had to do was look at your ship and go, I'll be 2 ships in from that.
Yeah.
And that would have put me exactly where, I had that perfect reference at the top.
Yeah, I guess actually as well, this is one of those things where it's like, it's easy to see this in hindsight, but in the middle of the game, it's quite hard. I say it's hard to track what your opponent has done.
Oh no, I agree
in relation to the effects and what you can do. So I think don't beat yourself
up
too badly.
I'm not. It's just one of those. I'm trying to make myself think because I literally got that because I know what you did. You did it. So yeah, as you said, it gives you the options to come back in behind and that. And the reason I dialed in the 4K was like, hey, if he can do that, I can do that too. That'll work for me. So I was literally pinging it off the fact you'd done it. Yeah. So I was like literally thinking about you. So I should have looked at your ship and gone, now, hang on, that doesn't quite get me where I want to be. I think what maybe I'll just bank up in between the rocks and then barrel roll away if needs be, or maybe I just completely disengage with a 5 straight.
But, I mean, I feel like you've got 3 objectives. You just disengage. Like the longer you can keep the game state 3-2 without any damage, the harder it is for me to get back.
Yeah.
And unlike me, you can actually play keep away.
No,
I can't play keep away. I have to pick up objectives and then just fight with the objectives.
That's it, isn't it? Like I'm so used to I'm not used to being in the objective lead per se, especially against you and droids, and so you're just getting that mindset of you've got to deal damage to make up. And it's like, hang on, no, you're right, I don't. And with 2 of my ships having the Born for this ability, almost everyone's effectively got a focus evade.
Yeah.
So, if I can keep it at range 3 shots, yeah, I might do okay. But
yeah, I think that is an interesting point. It's like normally I'm way more aggressive about getting 3-2 on objectives. Like I will. It's an interesting look back. It's like recently I've been way more lax about picking up objectives like this, and I'll be like, I'm happy with the 3-2 because I'm confident I can deal damage. And I'm thinking with Contingency Protocol, at least, with this list specifically, it will turn out that I do not have the damage output.
Yeah,
to, reliably, it's. I think going from the 3 dice flak down to a 2 dice Bactoid was not worth changing a flak to the other Tri-Fighter.
I mean, I'd argue, spoilers, you don't get the best use out of the Tri-Fighter this.
Yeah, but I would say even if I literally suicided a flak off the board, I would be better off having a second Tri-Fighter than the Bactoid prototype.
Fair. That's fair. So anyway, getting back to the game, Anakin does a 1 bank because I kind of wanted to see where the Tri-Fighter was going, and the 1 bank left me basically space to maybe I can fit a barrel roll into the left so I can do a fast maneuver behind the asteroid the next turn. But if I can't, there's plenty of space to turn around it, and with the Delta's boost, you get back in. Or there's space to barrel roll in and come in, which is what I decided to do. I barrel roll and then boost. So I'm basically looking perpendicularly into your droid swarm. I mean, we're well out of range. But what it's done is it's set up basically the 2 Jedi on 2 different flanks.
Yeah.
And yeah, we check, and there's no shooting, so...
Yeah. And so we're now coming up to my mistake that I'm going to say, I think this turn cost me the game. We've already spoiled that the Tri-Fighter doesn't do very well this round, but I don't think the Tri-Fighter itself is the problem. The problem here is I have an option choice. Obi-Wan got a stress. It has a stress and is facing essentially the corner that my droids are facing at. So he's either turning into the board or he's trying to dodge my swarm by going out. And What I end up doing is spreading my arcs, trying to catch him in as many as possible. And what I should have done is just committed to one alternative or the other. Either the entire swarm turns in and Obi-Wan's doing nothing for 2 turns, or I commit to thinking Obi-Wan's going to the corner, and then nothing happens. And if I'm wrong, Obi-Wan is missed. But like, I'm not like spread out, because what I do is I scatter my arcs, trying to catch Obi-Wan, and I do catch Obi-Wan in one arc.
Okay.
But because I get inside my own head and try to work out where you're going. So the Bactoid prototype does a 2-bank, barrel rolls to the left and reaches out for a target lock and just misses Obi-Wan, which is a bit of a shame. The Howachal does a 2-bank and calculates. The other Howachal with the objective does a 1 hard and calculates. DFS 081 does a 3 straight and calculates. DBS 32C does a 2-bank, and I believe I just calculate here. DBS 404 does a 2-bank, unfortunately bumps into my Howachal, very sad, and takes a damage, which is just a complete mess up with me.
I mean, to be fair, it's got to be close because those ships literally look like they're in a line.
But it was also kind of greedy on my part, because the only reason the Howachal didn't barrel roll calculate is because the Bactoid had missed the lock, and I wanted to get a lock on Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And again, that was greedy. I should have just barrel calculated. But either way. And then my Tri-Fighter does a 5...
3 straight?
That didn't look like a...
No, I think it did a 3 straight.
Afterburner's boost, and then I evade. Because I was basically trying to cover all the options Obi-Wan could take. Either he did a blue turn into the board, thinking I would go all the way down, or he goes like a 3 or 4 straight to the corner of the board. I'd get you in a couple of arcs. And I'm going to say, this is a mistake. I do not have the powerful guns that would mean I can reliably damage a 3 agility ship with 2 dice guns, especially at the range 3 that it's going to be.
So
I needed to commit to one or the other and just accept that if I got it wrong, I got it wrong.
So spoilers, if this happens again, Dietas don't have a blue hard turn.
Oh yeah, well, or I assumed a bank. I thought Obi would either bank in behind that rock or 4 straight, whatever it was.
The banking behind the rock, for sure.
Yeah. I'm probably thinking, because you've had Etters with R4 Astromechs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, they've hard turned and they're blue.
So Obi does a 4 straight because it's the fastest blue. It puts me basically where I was before I 4K'd. My thinking was I 4K, I 4 straight, and then I boost and get myself as far into the corner as possible. I knew it would fit because I'd done a 1 hard and I wasn't right in the bottom edge. So
I mean, you knew it would fit because you system phase boosted them 4K'd, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
with that bit and the one, the 1 hard beforehand. So even the fact you're going 45 degrees and getting the wider ship, I suppose. So I do that, and I think I dodge all the arcs.
You dodge the Bactoid, which is important.
Yeah. All right, I have no evade, but I've got 3 greens and 3 force from a 2 dice shot. But I wasn't sure, but I had a feeling that you'd commit to Obi. So basically, I turn everyone else in. Contra just does 1 hard, takes a focus. Precise Astromechs into a red lock. Forget to give myself the stress, but it's fine because we remember when I do a blue maneuver next turn. And locks the Tri-Fighter. I do a 2-bank with the Torrent, who takes a lock onto the Tri-Fighter. I 3K with Knack because classic me not thinking about the next turn. The boost, the barrel roll boost from Anakin last turn basically gets in Knack's way, and 4 health ship, I didn't really want to risk the 1 damage when I don't need to. So, and I wasn't sure. Funnily, I thought your swarm jumps in on Obi, but I did wonder if there's a chance you sneak the Tri-Fighter around to try and shoot one of my other ships, or get a block on Anakin if you think I'm going to zoom in.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, this is the problem with what I decided, is I decided to do a little bit of both, in this case, it means I did neither of both. So, like, the Tri-Fighter was like, I'm going to try and catch Obi-Wan if he turns in, because then I'm just head on, and I'll take it.
Yeah.
Whereas had the swarm committed and had all gone straight, the Tri-Fighter probably still does the same thing, but at least is, nearby friendlies that have calculates, because right now I have an evade and no nearby calculates.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible place to be.
So I go 3 forward. I spend a force to do a boost to get range 1 of the Tri-Fighter. And then I think possibly second mistake here. Just a little one. But with my normal action, I take a target lock because I want the double mods. And I thought I've got a double modded range 1 shot, 4 dice. I've got a double modded range 2, 2 dice, and I've got a diamond boron missile. And I figured the likelihood is at some point you probably have to re-roll something so you get a strain that puts you down to 2. You've only got 3 health. There's a reasonable chance I kill the Tri-Fighter this turn.
Yeah.
I mean, it is dice dependent. It's not guaranteed by any stretch. But you're playing a Contingency Protocol list, and it's not the first time I've played against it. But I keep forgetting that you'll get an action.
Yeah.
What I think I should have done here, and actually what I really think I should have done here anyway, is not taken the target lock, barrel rolled Anakin to the left. Because
maybe I think it is a minor mistake. I think the correct play is maybe just don't boost. Just target lock.
Yeah, possibly, but then it's range 2.
Because I then it's range 2, but I know what move you're trying to block off. But I think
but it's not just that. It is semi because of what happened, but it's also I'd be out of Brown's arc.
Yeah,
I'd be further about the same from range 3 from green, and it would stop even if you take 4 or 4 out of the equation. Brown could have taken a lock as his action. It's denying you more opportunities to basically shoot my very expensive ship.
Yeah.
Maybe staying range 2. I don't know. I kind of felt the 4 dice is more likely to get me that damage through.
True, but I think if you're just thinking about keeping Anakin safe from retaliation, just staying at range, because the worst that can happen if you're at range 2 is I get a slightly better vulture shot on you.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. So, yeah, whichever combination, I should have done something, whether that's not boost in or barrel roll away, to make Anakin slightly safer. And that is something you have to bear in mind when you're playing against this list, because as you say, you'll get actions probably against my list before you've engaged.
Yeah, I'll get actions probably at I6 or 5. Well, actually, no, I have to get I6 at 5, right? Because you can't suddenly kill me at I2.
Exactly. So yeah, but we go to the engage, and I do have the range 1 shot into Anakin.
Into the Tri-Fighter.
Yep. Into the Tri-Fighter. I roll hit, focus.
Something because it's off the screen.
It was a hit. I spend a force for 4 hits.
So I'm taking damage. I roll 2 evades and a blank, and I don't do the reroll. I just spend my evade. And maybe I should have rerolled, actually. Now that I think about it, I should have rerolled, because I can see a calculate that I could have used if it was a focus, and I could always just use the evade after. I think I should have rerolled.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay, you take a strain, but out of those 2 dice, you're still guaranteed 1 evade because you've got the evade.
And if I can keep the evade,
but I blink 1 through. Then we go to I5 and
Diamond Boron.
I don't know about who to shoot here, because if I shoot... No, hang on. It's not this turn. Ignore me. I find a Diamond Boron. I get 2 hits and a blank. I spend the lock for 3 hits.
I roll evade, blank, focus, and I believe I reroll both of them.
No, you just
reroll 1.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So You nick Brown's calculate, but still take a damage.
4, 2. Still take a damage, but it's Diamond Boron time.
Yeah, I do Diamond Boron here. It catches Anakin, but it's so for anyone who doesn't know, the Diamond Boron missile comes with 3 charges, and it's got a special ability, should we say. After this attack hits, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, each ship at range 0 to 1 of the defender with an agility equal to or less than the defender's rolls 1 damage and suffers 1 hit or crit damage for each matching result.
Yep.
So that's because I've done the Tri-Fighter and it's 3 greens.
Agility.
It's everyone at range 0 to 1. Which
is 404, 32C, a Howard Child prototype, and myself, and Anakin.
So Anakin goes first and doesn't take a damage.
Yep. I can't remember who this was rolling for. Oh yeah, this is Dis. Dis takes a damage and dies.
Yes.
I can't remember which order I did this in, but I'm pretty sure
no one else takes damage, so
yeah.
So Dis dies. And
Contingency Protocol triggers.
Yeah.
And I barrel roll and target lock DBS 404, and I target lock Anakin.
Yeah, see, and I didn't even see this coming. I should, because I didn't think about Contingency Protocol. And yeah, whether the choice of barrel roll or not boost, I shouldn't have put myself where I can end up in range 1 to a 6 dice advanced proton.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll remember that. Contrail gets a shot into 404, range 2, rolls, hit, focus, and I spend the focus for 2 hits.
I roll a single of 8, so I've taken 2 damage on DBS 404, and I'm going to take a third shortly, but that's fine, because a 6 dice APT into Anakin can basically swing the game completely.
Yeah. Obi gets a shot, range 2, spends a force 4, hit crit.
I get evade focus and spend my calculate to just dodge the whole lot.
And that's it for me, so it's over to you.
So 404 just has Anakin range 1. So it's APT time.
Yeah.
So 6 dice APT. I get 2 hits, 3 focuses, and a blank. 404.
Yeah, because you don't have.
I don't have a calculate, so this isn't the greatest APT. But at this point, I'm like, I've got an APT into Anakin. You take what you can take.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes you can just roll hot, right? And I get another hit, and I get another 2 hits out of my target lock, and I upgrade 1 to a crit. So that's pretty good.
I mean, single modded, yeah. For
like single modded, I think that's pretty acceptable, right?
Yeah. I roll evade focus. I spend my last force to take 2 evades. So I take 2 shields.
Then I take a crit, and I believe it's Hull Breach.
Yes, it is. And then you shoot Obi.
Yes, this is DFS 081, and I get nothing. And then I have no more shots.
You do. You have 1.
Oh, no, I have a range 3 with the Howard Child into Anakin. I get focus crit, spend my calculate for hit crit.
I roll 1 evade, 2 blanks, so I take another shield. And then you go range 3 into kickback.
It's a torrent, yes.
Yeah.
I get hit crit out of hand.
I get 1 evade, so I take a crit. The crit was a direct hit. And I drop the objective.
Yeah. Now, astute listeners may be thinking, like, hang on, Sam, you said you lost the game this turn, but this actually hasn't gone that badly. Okay, the Tri-Fighter died, but that's what Tri-Fighters do. You can't really expect it. You've put some damage onto Anakin, you've made him drop a box. The problem is, the positioning of my swarm is really janky. Because I'm at a 45-degree angle with most of them. At least the initiative isn't too bad to work out, but I can't really... where I currently am, I can't actually commit my swarm to any one target that's worth going for. Because I could go for Obi-Wan, but I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan's boosting and 5-straighting, and I can't actually stop that or do anything relevant about it. And I was pretty sure Anakin gets a force back and then 1 hards away. And I couldn't realistically... I mean, maybe I could with DBS 404. but I didn't know that Anakin has so many ways to go that if I overcommit there, I would be afraid that the rest of the list just comes and creams me.
Yeah.
So I again don't commit to anything. I think this turn I just sort of hover.
Yeah, so interestingly, I did take a lot of thinking of Anakin because, yeah, as you say, I can one hard away, but I did think that was reasonably blockable.
Yeah,
And I did think maybe you try and block the one hard with DBS 404 by just turning him into Anakin, and then you hard turn 32C and you hard
yeah,
turn the Haushal's, certainly
the Bactoid.
yellow, yeah, and just try and, if you block me, I've got probably a focus and one force, but two greens. So yeah, I had to try. Also, Knack's still kind of out of it, so
Yeah. Yeah, Knack's out of it. Obi-Wan, I thought was going to boost in 5 straight, so he's probably out of it. I think my problem with this game is I could never decide who I was going to go for, and so I kind of didn't go for anyone, and I didn't have the guns to actually deal meaningful damage.
yeah.
Like what this list needs is just to point all its guns at a target and shoot until they die.
But we roll off.
And priority doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter. So I do the system phase boost with Obi. Bank boost to face straight up the board edge.
So I do a 2-bank with the one of the Haushal's, and I take a calculate, just looking at towards Knack. I do a 2 hard with the backload prototype in behind the rock, and I take a calculate. Here, my regret here is not target locking Anakin, but I was just not sure where you'd end up. So I was like, I'll take a calculate. I need defensive mods. The other Howard Child does a 2 straight into the board and calculate. DFS 081 does a 1 hard and calculates. DBS 32C does a 2 hard and calculates.
Yeah.
Is that too hard?
No, bank, because you're on a 45.
Is it 2? Oh,
It
yeah.
must be
a 2 bank. Yeah. 2 bank, and I believe I calculate here, and I try to jam Anakin.
You do.
But I'm just out of range.
Just out.
And DBS 404, I believe it's a 3 straight, clears the stress, and is just sitting in front of kickback. And I calculate.
So I do Contrail first, who does a 2 bank. I take a focus and I precise astromech to lock 32C, who's in front of me. At which point we realise I forgot to put the stress token on from the last round, but it's all good because I dialed in the blue. And I do put the stress this time. You get the bump onto kickback, who bumps into 404 and then just takes the red focus. Knack does a 2 bank to ditch the stress and takes a target lock onto 404. And Obi does, I think that's a 2 bank, might be the 3.
Yeah.
Because I knew you had to move, I basically put myself where your ships were. Because I felt there's either I'm in the clear, or I bump into the backside and am likely not in any arcs anyway, so...
Yeah.
Unless you've committed everybody to trying to catch Obi, and to do that, A, you have to guess that I'm not going 5 straight and buggering off, and B, you're turning your back on the rest of my list. I didn't think it was likely. So he's quite happy. He is not in any arcs, and he just takes a focus. I do wonder maybe should I have spent a force to do a lock there, but
Nah, I think focus is
I'm pretty sure I've got a range 1 bullseye shot. So 4 dice, and I'm pretty sure a focus is better at 4, isn't it? Or is it equal at 4 actually? Focus.
I mean, to be honest, with the force, I don't even know.
But that's the problem. Like, I'd be down to 1 force, so it's lock calculate probably is better.
I mean, patience.
Yeah, that's true. I could have patience to get 1 back. I never remember patience because I don't like the idea of depleting myself. The Republic have hard enough time punching damage, like unless you're spending...
It's safely say depleting yourself is never a problem with dis.
Well, yeah, I mean
you just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. And Anakin does do the 1 hard away, because I had to try and disengage, and I spent a force to do a boost And then I barrel roll just to make sure I'm out of. Oh, I was hoping everybody's arc. So Anakin has no shot at I6, so we go to the 5s. And I do the range 2 into 32C. Because
I check my Howard Charles bullseye, and no, you're not in it.
As much as I'd love to do the go into 404 and finish him off, I'm just not sure range 0 is worth it. Maybe it should have been. Maybe I should have just gone the unmodded.
I don't think it would have been. I think you having 2 modded shots into 32C is a lot more useful than an unmodded shot into 404.
Well, that was my thinking. I roll blank. So, all right, fine. So I go to Contrail, who has the range 1 double modded shot.
You are in the bullseye of my other Howard Charles, so I take a target lock onto Contrail. And I and ah about this one because I looked at Anakin and I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if you're in the Bactoids arc." But no, I don't think you are. So I declined to take the target lock onto Anakin in the hopes of firing the homing the missile. I take the lock onto
Contrail
instead because guaranteed modded shot.
I roll 2 hits and a blank. I spend the lock with the Besh config to make 3 hits.
I roll focus, then you contrail me down to focus blank.
Yeah, because we both did a bank to the right.
And I spend a calculate to get 1 evade, so I take 2 damage onto 32C.
Nact fires a Magpulse Warhead into 404. I roll 2 focuses and a blank. I spend the lock and re-roll it into 2 blanks on a focus.
Yay!
Way! Oh, man. Maybe I should ditch Sync Console for munitions failsafe.
Nah, I think Sync Console is good. Nac's just unfortunate this game in that he's a million miles away from everyone.
Munitions failsafe. So after you roll dice, cancel all your results. So can you do that after you've re-rolled with a target lock?
I don't think so.
Because that's a reroll. That's a reroll, yeah. So you'd have to make the decision before. Cool.
Yeah.
That's worth bearing in mind. Then we get to Obi, who, by the narrowest of margins, does clip the range 1 bullseye. I am and about going range 2 into 4C to carry on pumping damage through. But I'm like, 4 dice versus 2 dice. No, we'll go with the 4 dice. I roll something because I can't say.
I focus blank.
Yay! Spend the focus for 2 hits because I'm not getting shot.
I roll blank focus, spend my calculate for 1, and I take a damage. Then 404 does his mighty range 0 shot into kickback and gets 2 focuses, so nothing. 32C goes range 1 into Contrail, and I roll 3 hits out of hand.
I roll 3, 2 evades on focus, and I spend my focus, for 3 evades.
Then to I1, my Howard Child prototype has a range 1 into kickback.
Next time we play and record, remind me not to roll the dice on my board edge, because when I hover the time bit at the bottom to pause it so we keep pausing, I can't see what half the bloody results are because it's covering it. But anyway, range 1 into 3 crits out of hand. I roll
3 crits. 3 crits out of hand.
I mean,
woo!
I roll 2 evades, but
so only a single crit, but that could have been nasty.
It's a disabled power regulator,
which doesn't matter.
I mean, it does. I'm getting Ion next turn.
Yeah. Then my other Howard Child fires an ion missile into Contra. And I get hit crit blank.
And I evade.
I re-roll the blank into a blank, and you roll 2 evades. And then I check the back to the prototype's arc, find out that Anakin was in my firing arc, to my ultimate sadness. And I put a range 2 shot into Contrail and roll 2 blanks.
And then we both score 2 on the objectives. And so we're end of turn 4. It's currently 12-6.
At some point, DFS definitely checked arc, but it seems like the attack must have done nothing because we skipped through it very quickly.
I got a feeling that you Why do I have the
I
feeling?
probably shot Contrail.
Yeah, I think you shot, but declined to use your calculate because you were keeping it for something.
I don't know. The calculate's gone, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming nothing happened. We might have skipped through it too quickly.
Yeah. So the only real difference is that outscoring on objectives for 2 rounds and the Tri-Fighter. Because I've been lucky that you've been unable to pick up the objective that I dropped. So we're just basically trading each turn.
And I'm in the unfortunate situation where the optimal shots for each of my ships is different people. I'm thinking, like, actually, I should have just been like 404 and one of the Howard Charles can only see one target. Everyone goes for that person.
Yeah.
So at the very least, with 32C, 2-on-2 is the exact same as 3-on-3, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we go into turn 5, and I system phase barrel roll away from the droids with Obi because I'm going to hard turn in. Like, the only way you get shots on me realistically is by turning around and then you're not modding, with the exception of the blue Bactoid. And I think I drop an ion bomb with Contrail.
Yeah, you do.
Because the one advantage here is if we both get ioned, I get a focus.
Yep, that is true. I get nothing. So I have a plan this round, and Knack has just come back into the fight, so it's time to dogpile him.
Seems legit.
So I 3 straight my Howard Child prototype, who just shot into kickback, barrel roll, calculate towards the objective that was dropped, with the idea that I can pick it up next time. And if Knack does something crazy, like a fast move trying to avoid this, then I might block it. The Howard Child holding the objective does a 2 hard up down towards Sean's border. It's just trying to get out of the way. The Bactoid does a stupid move and decides that he wants to go tangle with Anakin and Obi-Wan. 2 hard to the right, facing them. And I think I barrel roll to the left and I target lock Anakin. It's doubly stupid because I forget that Ion is going to mean I'm going to lose this target lock. Like, I barrel into the ion bomb, by the way, people listening, then take a stress, take a target lock that I know is guaranteed to be lost. At least I knew when the ion bomb went off, and I was like, oh yeah, this just was going to happen.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I did the exact, not the barrel roll in, but I was in an ion bomb range and took a target lock last night at club night. Like, yeah.
Then DFS 081 just does a 2 hard, barrels to the right, and links to a calculate, just trying to open up the arcs on the Jedi, because Anakin is plinkable, is my current thought, and I'm just down, so I need to do some Hail Marys to do this. So then 32C does a 4 straight, trying to clear everyone, and I take a target lock onto Knack. DBS 404 does a 2 hard to clear the stress, and I decide to barrel roll and link it into a target lock onto Knack. And the instant I do it, I think, oh crap, he's probably banked. As I realize the gap that's opened up is literally the instant I do it, I think, oh wait, he's almost like he's banked. Now I think about it, he's definitely banked, and I just cleared the way for no good reason.
Spoilers: Knack does a 1 bank, and at this point in the game, I'm sat there thinking, oh, this is sweet. He's just opened up a gap for me to 1 bank, and then is it a 2? Might have been a 2 bank, sorry. And because it's a blue, that adds a boost. I'm like, oh sweet, I can boost. I'll get out of all his arcs. It's sweet. Kind of forgetting I'm holding a box at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, and I'd like to point out, I'm 2 for 2 on target locking enemies when in range of an ion bomb.
Yeah.
I just, my excuse is it's the effect is that new ruling is still new to me, so I just forget it does it. That's my excuse.
Because of where you've stuck the green Hao Chal, I'm pretty convinced that either Kickback or Contrail was going to bump into the other ship, depending on who I move first. I'm going to have to decide who I want to risk taking the damage on. So I move Contrail first and bump him into into the back of the Haoshao. I don't take the red focus because no one's shooting at me and I've only got a range 0 shot. There's no point stressing myself. And then I do a 1 bank with kickback, which actually doesn't bump. Although I think it's close enough to think, because Contrail bumped, I didn't know exactly where his angle was. It's close. And I take a focus here. Mainly because I wasn't sure where how far Knack would be, and if he's in range 2, I can Born for this the focus over. Was my thinking. I do the boost with Knack, which actually I think, looking at that, is only a 1 bank.
You do the 1 bank.
Yeah, sorry, not a boost. Which wouldn't have given me a boost because it's not a blue maneuver, so wouldn't have been getting out of that. And he takes a focus because he's taking 2 range 1 shots. Obi bumps.
one-hearted into my DFS 081, which was a pleasant surprise for me.
I'm kind of okay with that because he's only taking a range 0 and I've got a shot into the bomber, so
Factoid, yeah.
That's fine with me. I take the red focus. Anakin does a 2 sloop.
Lines up that bullseye.
Lines up the bullseye, so he spends a force to ditch it. He then flips a charge on the R4P17 Astromech to acquire a lock. And I then focus. The bomb goes off.
Then the iron bomb goes off. We hit my Factoid prototype, DBS32C, and kickback.
Yes, that's the other reason why I didn't lock. Although I could have barrel rolled out of that, but maybe I should have barrel rolled out of that, actually.
I mean, there's no reason not to.
Well, I think my thinking at the time was I'm ionized next turn anyway because of the disabled power regulator.
That is also true.
So, but I suppose it means this turn I could have barrel roll. What I could have actually done was triggered his ability, barrel rolled, got the lock onto the green Hao Chao, linked it into the red evade. So I've got strain, evade, stress, but it's fine because I'm doing a blue maneuver with the ion next turn. And then I've got an evade to throw over with Born for this.
Yeah, that's true.
But hey, that's the brilliance of hindsight.
So I lose all those locks I tried super hard to get. 32C is very, very sad.
Anakin does his range 3 shot into the Factoid. I roll crit blank. Re-roll the blank into a hit.
I roll 3 evades.
Dang it. Obi does a range 2 shot, 2 hits.
I roll 2 evades.
Dang it.
Woo!
I think this is Kitback's range 1 shot into the back of the Hao Chao. I roll crit hit blank. Yes, you've rolled 2 of those.
Yeah, I rolled 2 evades.
You've nattied out of
an entire turn.
7 damage so far?
It's like an electro-proton bomb just went off.
Don't, I'm getting flashbacks. Contrail does his range 0, gets 1 hit. You've got to spend a token!
Yep, I spent my calculator to dodge it.
Knack does a range 1 into 32C, rolls hit crit.
I roll evade, take a crit, it's a direct hit. 32C is dead. Or is it?
No, it's on 1. It's on 1.
I'm on 1.
But you drop the box.
I do drop the box, which is very important at this point. And I'm ionized, so very sad. 404 takes the range 1 shot into Knack. I roll 2 hits, 2 blanks. I target lock the 2 blanks into 2 more blanks.
I roll evade focus. I spend the focus. And this is a mistake.
You shouldn't have, because you should have let me hit.
I should have let that one go through. It would have gone through on the shields. And then you take a crit. Yeah. Alright, it might not kill you, but it's another crit, and you're on 1 health with 2 crits, and, Yeah, I should have let that go through. I should have thought, because it's not a crit, I'm not dropping the box. There we go.
I think at the time you said, don't you get it anyway? And I was like, no, I need to hit. So
yeah, that's true. Maybe I was just thinking it's when you shoot. But we go to your ships. Well, carry on with your ships. I should say.
And I have a range 0 into Obi-Wan or a range 3 into Anakin. I think I go into Anakin.
I think you go into Anakin
because
I kind of think that's the right call.
Because I can mod. You only have a focus, which I guess is the same as because like you have no force, you have a focus. But most importantly, I can mod this shot.
Yeah, exactly.
And I roll 2 blanks.
All right.
32C range 1 into Knack. I roll blank hit crit.
I roll blank evade, so I take a shield and drop the box.
And then my final shot is the backdoor prototype into Anakin. I roll hit crit out of hand. Range 3.
I roll evade blank blank. So I lose the last shield. Thank God for that shield upgrade.
Yeah.
And then
we get 1 point each.
1 point each, don't we? Yeah. Which I'm kind of happy about here because I know your bomber's got to go. The one that's facing Anakin, it's got to do a 1 straight or a bank. So I'm pretty sure that if I 5k behind that, there's no way you can go that isn't range 1 of the front arc.
Yep.
So
you'd be absolutely right.
So I can effectively get a range 1 double modded shot on you, stress free again.
Yeah.
And I think honestly the worst because 32C's ions and the others are kind of out of it. The worst is I maybe take a shot from DFS.
Yeah, and that could be dangerous if it's range 1, but not likely. And also, you'd know if you were taking it. Like you have all the choice.
Yeah, exactly. And at this,
but where I'm at is like I've not done that much damage. Like I've done some damage to kick back, but I have a bunch of ships that are just hanging on. Like it'll only take a couple of shots to like put the ball over the finish line, essentially.
Yeah. Well, that's my thinking. Like, if I can kill that bomber, I mean, I know it's got 4 health at the moment, but a range 1 shot from Anakin's gonna hopefully do a reasonable amount, and I can. I'm gonna bank kick back up that way as well. That's another 3 points, puts me on to 16. If I keep the objective that Contrail's got, I'm on 17. If I can possibly delete the Hao Shao, the green one that's damaged with Obi, goes 19, and I'm banking Knack up to pick up that top center one. So all right, it's unlikely I win it this turn, but it puts me in a honestly, if I pick up the 2 objectives and kill the bomber, I've effectively got it next turn because I can just disengage. Even if Anakin dies, like.
For me, this game at this point, I needed like a miracle. But, like in my head, I was like, I think I've probably lost this. I just don't have the resources to do it anymore. Like 404's essentially fired his load, right? Like he's not going to live to shoot again if he gets range 1 or someone, because I think at that point you just say, okay, I'll range 1 you and you'll die.
Yeah. With 2 health left, it's hard. But we go into turn 6. So like, there's 20 minutes left on the clock. So regardless of reaching 20, maybe we get 2 turns in.
Yeah, like for me, I need to kill Anakin, and I can't. Is the sad problem. So I start picking objectives because you know what? Maybe if this game stays stalematy and stuff stops dying, having objectives is more value than not. So Howard Child 2 hearts down. I strut like override, misjudge it slightly. I don't hit the rock and I pick up the objective. The backtoy prototype just does a 1 straight. I didn't really see a way to not get destroyed by Anakin this round. So I was like, well, maybe he does a 2 straight. I survive your shot and I can range 1 you.
Yeah.
Like that's about all I had.
I like your 32C.
Yes, so 32C flipped the strut lock override and did a 1 bank onto the debris. In front of it, 1 bank to the right.
It's nice because it's basically just a safe haven, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's something that I think people don't expect. It's like, yes, I have no struts, but I can still go over the obstacle. And next turn, I can do the second strut lock override. Actually, no, I don't even need to do that because as long as I get off the obstacle, you
don't suffer it again. Right?
Yeah. DFS 081 does a 2 hard to the left, and I then barrel roll to the left again and link it to a calculate. 404 does a 3 straight past Knack, picks up the box that Knack's just dropped. And that's me.
So Contrail, 1 hard back into the back of the Haoshal. And I do take the red focus this time because I want to start trying to. No, because I'm taking a shot is why, or I could be taking a shot.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, then I've got it for Born for this because Kickback
will be nearby. Kickback will be nearby.
Kickback does his 1 straight and takes focus. I think it's 2 or 3.
Like a 3 bank.
3 bank. I thought it was a 3 bank with Knack. Just trying to get as close to the center objective as I can, and I pick that up. Obi does a 2 bank. Because I wasn't expecting DFS to be there. So I was thinking, I'll have a bit more free reign to boost after one of the other ships. But if I do that, then I'm going into his arc at range 1. I think I've just got the back of the blue Bactoid at range 1, so like, maybe I stay here just in case Anakin doesn't finish him off. Also, if I boost, I'm pretty sure I get in Anakin's way. So
yeah.
So I stay there, and I take a focus. And Anakin does the 5k, which lands right behind the bomber. So spend a force to ditch the stress, spend a charge on the droid, get focus lock, and go range 1 into the back of him. I roll 3 hits.
3 hits and a blank.
And I re-roll into a hit.
So I am Ledead, and if you're watching YouTube, you see I pick up what I thought was 2 dice, but I'm looking directly down. There's a 3rd dice directly below the one. But I re-roll, and I get evade focus and take 3 damage.
And don't die. Oh, you nick a calculator.
And I nick a calculate from DFS 081 to block another damage.
So you only take
1.
I take 2.
I take 2, sorry.
And you're down to 2.
Down to 2.
Then we go to Obi, who does the range 1 shot into the bomber. Not bullseye, so only 3 dice. I roll 2 hits and a focus. Blank, sorry. So I basically any evade and you live.
I get 2 focuses. So the turn of evading everything is gone.
So that is the 3 ones, but Contingency Protocol.
Contingency Protocol. So I have DFS 081 or the Howard Charles. And so the Howard Charles angle is he's just a weird angle with Contrail. And I think I try to barrel roll over him because at this point I just need to either have no one die or I just need to get more shots. So I think I try to barrel roll over Contrail.
No, you don't.
To line up the shot into Knack. Or do I decide to do DFS?
I remember this. We talk about this.
Yeah.
And in the end, you decide not to. And I think you give a lock to somebody. You give a lock.
Yeah, DFS takes a lock onto Kickback.
And then we check it to see if you could have barrel rolled.
And
you can't.
Yeah.
Knack has no shot.
Knack does have a shot. Actually, Knack could shoot the dead prototype, yeah.
I could shoot the dead prototype. So we go to the Torrent, who has the range 1 shot into DFS. And I roll hit, crit. I roll spend the focus for 2 hits and a crit.
I roll 2 blanks. And so I die.
Contingency Protocol kicks in. Again.
Contingency Protocol. What do I do?
Well,
this is where I try the barrel roll.
No, it's not, because this is, if you remember, we were saying this is where you would try the barrel roll because you wouldn't know it doesn't fit.
Oh,
but because we checked it.
Because we checked it.
So you take target lock.
I target lock Knack, even though we both kind of know you've already won. Because at this point, you've already won.
Yeah, because I killed the outright 2 points, and
Yeah, you killed the prototype and DFS, putting it up to 18, and you are holding 2 boxes, and I do not have any shots on the box holders.
Yeah, and then we just run through the other shots, which don't really do much. And it finishes 2010.
Yeah, and that was an interesting game. Like I'm gonna maintain that primarily my list building choice, like my list building experimentation, was just not a good one. Downgrading one tri-fighter to a bomber to get a slightly better tri-fighter wasn't worth it. I think this one especially just needs redundancy. I need the 2 tri-fighters so that if one of them dies, Contingency Protocol can help the other one get value. Whereas in this one, I had like my big gun died, and so a big gun got value, but I needed another big gun, and the Bactoid just wasn't it.
Yeah.
And the second mistake in it is I just needed to freaking commit to something.
Yeah.
Because everything I did was wishy-washy this game. And this list just needs to commit. It just needs to have all its guns pointing in the same direction, and if you are in it, you will take shots.
Yeah. Like my take on the list building side of it is what I think I would do is downgrade like maybe DBS 32C to a 2-point energy shell vulture. Yes, you lose 2 health and the jam and the plasmas, but you get shells
and contingency. Yeah,
you've got no 2-pointers.
All the 2-pointers that have contingency protocols are in this list.
Fair enough. Because my thinking was if you could find that extra point from that, then that other bomber becomes a flak again, and then you've got a flak and dis.
Yeah. Like I think the thing is, and what I have done for Kyber, spoilers anyway, I have just gone back to flaks because, like we discussed, the flaks are just really, really good.
Yeah,
like they're solid, and it's like I have Kraken in the list because they'll do an action that gets a calculate, and if I've lined up the bullseyes, they'll get another calculate. So it's like I have Kraken and have kept some calculates from the previous turn.
Yeah.
And in a droid swarm, the more calculates they have, the more you're going to live and the more you're going to kill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure your bomber lives if you had another calculate hanging around there because he rolled 2 focuses. And...
But fun fact, DFS 081 lives if he has a calculate. Because I can spend a calculate and his charge to cancel that crit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it was an interesting game. I think it was a very much it like woke me up on the fact that like I can't have 3 vultures, 3 bombers, and a tri-fighter with the I'm going to call it the suboptimal loadout on the vultures. Because I just don't have, at least not the way I played it. I don't have the guns to point at the enemy. If I'm shooting like 2 or 3 people at one thing, that's not enough. I need another 3-dice gun. And as much as I love the humming missile with the Bactoids, it just didn't happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is fair.
Yeah, so but other than that, on your I think your list is good. I think R4P17, yeah, I think you can't take both.
Which kind of means I have to drop it from Anakin, which is a shame because it does neuter that red maneuver 3-die, but he's got other options. The question is, do I want shield upgrade or do I want outmaneuver? That's the... Because you can just go outmaneuver crack shot for the...
I think you want shield upgrade. I think
there's a possibility of me that makes me think I want shield upgrade.
I think you want shield upgrade just because, yes, outmaneuver's great, but it's very, very expensive, and if you only get it off once or twice, it's like it works on Grievous because Grievous is like doubling down, right?
Yeah,
he already wants to be outmaneuvering, so adding outmaneuver is just like, let's like go with the flow. Like you already want to be doing this, so let's make you doing it even better. Whereas Anakin just wants to be flying, and if he's outmaneuvering, great. But I think he also just wants to live.
Yeah, and it'd be surprised how many times he's died the exact amount that you need, and that one extra health will. I shall play around with that. I've currently got 3 lists I'm playing around with. I think all of them have got Anakin in one form or another. I think two of them are Delta B, and I think one of them is an Etta Anakin. So, because hey, 5 point, 5 point I6 Etta. That's fun.
But other than that, my goal at Kyber is to make this list work, and it's a fun list, and it's going to catch people out.
Well, luckily, Kyber starts next week. So
let's go.
Depending on when we record, next week we might bring you the start of our Kyber run, or we may have one more filler. But rest assured, you will have some Kyber matches coming up, because it's nice to do stuff different. Sam and I will try and both record not all the games, because otherwise we'll be talking about the same lists for like 12 weeks. But
I will record all my games as the glorious record of my triumphs, and if I lose, I won't record them.
Fair. If I lose, something went wrong with the recording.
Oh no, the recording is gone. I threw my computer out the window.
Well, on Sam's technical difficulties, we'll wrap it up for this week. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, ta-ta.
Bye.